Joining me now from our bureau in Washington, D.C., senior correspondent at the Catholic News Agency, Matt Hadro. Matt, Pew is out with some devastating numbers when it pertains to millennials and religion and Christianity in particular. Millennials, 2009 versus 2019, down 16%, those who identify as Christians. 16% in just 10 years. Non-religious are up 13%. There's almost a one-to-one correlation here. I hate to hammer on millennials, and for all I know, you are a millennial, but it's very scary when you look at these trends, a loss of religion, and you couple it with what's happening, for example, on university campuses, of a loss of free speech and the First Amendment. I think these two go hand in glove.
Sure, and thank you for having me on, Graham. What the Pew numbers show, they really confirm a pre-existing trend that's been well documented over the last few years of a decline of institutional Christianity in the U.S. It used to be that 77% of Americans identified as Christian. Now, a decade later, it's only 65%. And there's been a corresponding rise in the percentage of Americans who don't identify with any religion whatsoever. And yes, this is particularly pronounced amongst millennials. Church attendance is down, the frequency of church attendance, the percentage who identify as Christians, there's now a really fair number who don't identify with any religion whatsoever, whether that's atheist, agnostic, or nothing in particular.
Just as alarming are the overall numbers. You know, we focused initially here with millennials, but overall, just as alarming, the numbers, 12% decline in people who identify as Christians over the past decade, from 78% to 65%. It's actually a 13% decline if you kind of combine the numbers. The bottom line is it's a double-digit drop. And in the Catholic Church in particular, believe it or not, we're seeing Hispanics dropping out of the Catholic ranks.
Yeah, that was a really interesting subset, and that was surprising. It's a 10% drop in the last decade, and also correspondingly an 8% increase in the number of Hispanics who don't identify with any religion whatsoever.
And so Americans overall, you can clearly say when you look at these numbers, and even anecdotally, they're losing their religion. We are losing our religion. And when you look at the numbers, 2009 versus today, people who have no religion in their life, 16% 10 years ago, now up to 26% today. The bottom line is when you peel back the numbers overall, there's a bigger decline among, and I hate to get political about this, but this is the truth, among Democrats.
Yes, and that was another interesting subset in the numbers. There's been a decline in Christianity in both the Republican and the Democratic Party, and a corresponding increase in the number of unaffiliated, but it's been especially pronounced in the Democratic Party. Now it's 1 in 3 Democrats, according to the Pew numbers, doesn't identify with any religion whatsoever. And an interesting thing, this past summer at the DNC summer meeting, they passed a resolution acknowledging the unaffiliated, the religiously unaffiliated, is the largest religious group in the Democratic Party. And religious Democrats who I know, this is something that they noted with concern, and that that they're concerned about. They're concerned about the party's lack of faith outreach, lack of outreach to religious voters.
You know, the old expression, there are no atheists in foxholes. How do we get these people back to religion? Whether it's Catholicism or Protestant or the Jewish religion, what have you. Is it going to take a 9/11, a calamity of some kind, to force these people back? Is this part of a trend that's going to continue in this death spiral? Or can these numbers build back up again?
Well, it's been a long-standing trend. I believe it was a few years ago where Pew found that even amongst Christians, there was a sizable number of them that weren't even certain that God existed, which I think brings the question of how deep was the religious faith to begin with. This is something I've talked about with Catholic bishops who are really concerned. They say that this is indeed a big challenge for the church with young people leaving, young people simply not believing in Christianity, not believing in Catholicism anymore, seeing that a supposed conflict between faith and science. And this is, I think, going to be one of the defining challenges for religion in the coming years.
And when there's
especially in the Hispanic.
when there's a wholesale, constant attack on the Judeo-Christian foundation of this republic, which has been going on now for decades, why would we expect any other result than what we're seeing with this Pew survey? Matt, thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.